Hey everybody, this video is a little bit longer than it probably should be. To explain that, as I've mentioned in the previous video, I'm in LA right now, and because of that, I didn't exactly have a scientist that I knew of on hand. So I walked down to the Laverne College and pretty much just solicited for a teacher in the sciences to talk with me, and I managed to find one. It's Professor Jones. He has majors in microbiology, education, and the plant sciences, and a minor in geology. And for his doctorate, very knowledgeable guy, but didn't quite understand that this video was only supposed to be a couple minutes. And through like the 4 questions we were supposed to ask, I had an hour of video time. So I managed to get that down to like 12 minutes, but it was the best I could do. So here you go. It's a little bit about Professor Jones. Thanks. Okay. I'm currently sitting in the imaging laboratory at the University of Laverne in California, located about half an hour east of LA. I'm here with Professor Jones, who's the professor of chemistry, or biology, and biochemistry here. How long have you been here for?
26 years.
26 years at the University of Laverne. And we're going to learn some stuff about his past in science, his future endeavors, and what he thinks about the importance of technical writing in today's scientists. We talked about how basic childhood things like digging holes and messing around the tire swing. He learned about stuff that, as he put it, like the scientific classes you take later in life are basically just attaching a scientific name to the common experiences like centrifugal forces from the tire swing and soil behavior with digging holes. And how do I explain that better?
Well, I think the practical experience, the experience of how things work and how they go together, and that ability to in your own mind visualize and to feel. I think feel is a very important term here. As we have experience with the universe around us and how it behaves and so forth, when you get on a bicycle and you are starting out, you don't have that instinct. You don't know that this muscle movement will correlate with compensating for a slight tilt and all of this. You have to learn that. But after you've experienced it over and over and over again in different settings and different permutations, you get a sense of it. And then it becomes part of you. You no longer have to consciously go through that process of, okay, this is what's happening, this is what I need to do, that's what I'm going to do, and all of that kind of stuff. It's automatic, okay?
Yeah.
When you are designing a product or something, placement of screws, the particular type of connection that you might make will be informed by the experiences that you have had with those particular materials and so forth. That's why practical knowledge is extremely important.
So what kind of writing have you done, and do you think this generation of scientists just coming out of college and stuff, do you think they have the tools to convey their findings to the general public? Like, important for the public to know what's going on in science, but a lot of scientists can't effectively get that meaning across. They can't communicate.
Union of Concerned Scientists has noted this issue, and many of the professional societies have noted the fact that there's this gap between the general public and the scientific community, scientific and engineering community, and that's in part due to two things, in my view. One is the fact that that in the United States, since the 1960s and 70s, the scientific literacy of the general population has declined. And part of this is due to the fact that there's been less direct contact with nature itself. Nature is the thing that informs science. The universe and the way that it behaves and so forth is exactly what scientists study. So if you are put into an environment which is circumscribed by four walls, a ceiling, and a roof, and most often by the attention to some kind of a video screen, this doesn't give you that breadth of contact. So there's no reality checking. So when one person says, this is the way it is, you don't have that common experience to be able to say, well, that's not the case. So I got this big picture, and my research in the past has been pretty much myopic. And this is what most scientists do. They work on little bitty projects, highly focused, often using the same methodology and so forth. So they themselves are in this small room.
Tunnel vision.
Exactly. And because of academic pressures and because of corporate structures, they tend to restrict their view. They're very busy people, and so they don't get that kind of breadth. I am now 60 years old, so I have been through that. But the interesting thing about it is I've been in this room, and this room, and this room, and this room. So you get back here and you see, woo!
Yeah.
You get to see the big picture.
Yeah, definitely.
As a function of this, I have become aware of the rapid changes that have occurred during the last 50 years. And it's exceedingly frightening. So, what that means is that now I feel the urgency to communicate that. All right?
True.
So, whereas before I was concentrating on writing scientific papers in the specific scientific format that we use, technical writing. I would say that I'm a very good technical writer.
Okay.
But I realized that the types of myopic studies that I was working on, and I love them dearly.
Yeah.
If you really care about the environment and the future, that's not where your attention should be. So I have devoted pretty much all of my attention to trying to communicate the situation that we're in with the environment. So let me tell you some of the wonderful myopic things that I just love this. I'm working with Professor Parchamazad from time to time on the various types of technological and engineering types of research that he does. Hydrogen fuel cells.
Yeah, those are cool.
Designing better catalysts, designing better exchange membranes, looking at specific materials. With the scanning electron microscope here, we have energy dispersive X-ray capabilities, so we can look at the elemental composition. So we can look at catalyst materials and look at what's on the surface, see if the catalyst is being stripped from the substrate or whether it's being blocked by other elements and things like that.
Okay.
We've looked at the integrity of separator membranes for purification of gases from the reformer and all that. I just love doing that. So it's just great stuff.
What future things are you excited about?
Well,
what's calling you right now that you want to start?
Yeah, right now it's all directed at the environment and trying to, the environment and education too, because those trends that I talked about before, where kids in my generation had that wonderful opportunity of extensive contact with nature. I mean, you had a lot of direct experience in which you learned how nature behaves. It's excellent for understanding science. The fact that that kind of experience has been almost eliminated from most children's experience today, because daycare is a managed environment. Because you have many kids that you have to watch, and
Yeah.
therefore you go from this wonderful activity to this wonderful activity to this wonderful activity. So it misses those periods of boredom. It doesn't promote proactive behavior, and it creates a situation in which the stimuli are intense
True.
and the subtle workings of nature take a bit of attention to perceive. So, so that's one of my emphasis too, is looking at what's happened to education, because I hate to say this, and it's not something unique to our institution. It's pretty much across the board that the level of students that we are getting and their ability to assimilate has been greatly compromised. The number of students going into the sciences, in terms of percentage of the population, has greatly reduced as well.
Yeah.
Students find it simply to be too much work.
Lazy.
So, and it's that conditioning.
Mhm.
It's just a function of their childhood, and also factors that changes in the K through 12 and so forth. So those are the two areas I'm interested in: making people aware of the environmental situations that we're in, and then also looking at these changes in student learning. And to communicate effectively, you have to put yourself into different mindsets and figure out what would I want to hear that would convince me. But you know, it's difficult to do that if you're disconnected and you've been in your own little closet and you don't get out. So it's that awareness, I think, is important to have.
I agree.
So I try to share the joy of that understanding and that perception with my students and others.